Join Dalton and Jacob as they discuss the ever-changing world of trading card games. TCG Buzz starts now.
What's up, Buzz Squad? It's your boy Bryce, back at it again with Will.
Hey, y'all.
So, you've been away for a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Last time I saw you, you were getting your feet wet with Toa, I mean, you wouldn't be the first person. But and there's been some drastic changes as of late, especially that's affecting, not just our, daily lives, but, with our card game as well.
Right.
And since now they have this extra time to do so, they're making these changes before these cards come out, which is a good and bad thing. But we'll talk about the more good stuff first right away. So we're going to go over the bans first instead of the erratas, just so that way get it out of your system, jog it down in your memory. And the first card we're going to talk about is Gogeta Hero Revived. Thank God that card is gone.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because, first of all, the card just won by itself.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be like, haha, I got 10 cards. He can't fight through this Gogeta. Oh, okay. I guess I'll lose now. Cool.
It was a feels bad card.
Also, it had deflect and barrier, so you couldn't touch it. You couldn't do anything to it, and it just hit you in the head. Like, cool, I guess I got 3 random cards, and he's still got a triple striking 30k beat stick. So, I'm glad they finally took notice that, hey.
No thanks. Hard pass.
This one we're a little more biased to, but I get it. It's for the health of the game and for future card design. Is Android 21 Violent Predator.
F in the comments. Feels bad.
This F in chat.
Rip.
Free my boy 21.
Girl.
It was originally proposed to promote multicolor. And as, Bandai does, they're like, oh, well, now we want to go back to promoting monocolor. Well, we can't do that with this around because then what's the point of just playing that when you just go 21? I win.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Felicia.
See you next ban list. So that's the reason why she's gone. Perfectly understandable. Even though she's an 8-drop, I get it.
Wasn't around for long, but...
Yep. These two are also kind of around of the same thing that begrudging respect Piccolo and forced ejection mass saying. Same reason, it just hurts future card design, and they're being more careful with ramp now because they learned from ejection that card was horribly imbalanced. Generic, slide it into all your decks along with your 4 sensu beans.
Yes.
All right, we're off to a great start on our blue decks. This one, it didn't make sense to me at first until I started practicing, with proxies and all that and plan for destruction. Because with the new stuff, you can just pick it back up, ramp more, and then you would use the super combo to just keep abusing it.
Right.
It was basically effectively a super combo that ramped you. And that's gross.
Feels good, but it's bad in the long run.
Right, so they want to continue supporting Goku Black, but they have to chop him off at the legs first and make him regrow them, so... That being said, that card's just a no-go. And then Turles the Unstoppable Ghost Warrior. This one was more so because Mono Black aggro was way too strong. Like, if you wanted to play aggro outside of Gohan, that was like the literal best choice you had. The card by itself did 2 damage, and it stuck around. That was for free. And that's insane. Like, that boggles my mind that they were like, well, here's a free double attacker that just, if they don't get rid of it, they're going to die. And it's a 3-drop, so the green negate doesn't kill it. Unless you play the bad Android one, in which that case, why would you go down in hand advantage when you could just gain a card to your hand and then kill a 2-drop?
Right.
Now to the more dicey stuff. The erratas. Look how they massacred my boy. Goku Black from set 2. Basically, their theory behind it to nerf him into oblivion was that they wanted people to play other leaders to ramp instead of him. But the problem is that the other leaders suck at ramp. So unless they plan to justify that in later sets, to me it didn't really make sense to just go ahead and just nuke them into oblivion, other than buy our new stuff.
Right.
That's like saying, I'm going to build Toa. Oh wait, she got nerfed. Good.
Feels good.
Yeah. So basically, now he's a Nobo if you ramp with him. So that way he only ramps by his own effect and that alone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty bad. I mean, outside of a couple of fixes here and there, the two other big ones, the two Surge leaders you bought for your Surge expansion decks. Starting off with Super Saiyan Goku, the Surge of Divinity. He used to be able to do it either player's turn, that he can either negate your skills or gain 10 in double strike. Now he just does that during your turn.
Right.
Which is very, very game changing because you used to be a very strong mid range deck,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're forced into this more hyper aggro thing. And so what the leader's still fine, whatever, fine, great. But what kills it for me is like at that point you're better off just playing Beerus now.
Right.
Where it was the opposite.
Right.
Where he would draw more cards, but now Beerus just is the better mid range deck because he actively kills things.
Right, and I actually liked this leader because, like what you said, it was a mid range, so you could play defensively during your opponent's turn.
Yep.
But now it's just stripped away.
Right, because like people were always doing USA deck lists,
Mm-hmm.
the yellow, blue, red, and to see that just there's no incentive to play blue in it anymore because now you're forced into a more super aggro style, which to me, I get it. They're trying to make it more bearable to play against the leader, but at the same time, people could have adapted. They could have.
Right.
Because they'll easily just print another leader that just blows it out of the water and you won't even want to play that leader anymore. Look at Soul Striker. Soul Striker never got hit and never got eroded, but people eventually dropped it off because, things happen, but now we have a bunch more leaders that are more enjoyable, if not just as strong as he is.
Right.
Which, by the way, new Soul Striker, don't care for him. And then, last but not least, Piccolo, the Gohan one that's green-blue. So they basically took the card draw, yoinked it off of him. That's it. That's all they did. They just got rid of the extra card draw. And people are like, well, this card is bad now because you don't draw cards with it. It's still green-blue. It's still one of the better Surge leaders for green-blue. But at this point, I see what they're getting at because he has very strong hand control, but now he can't just feel advantage to go over the top of the opponent anymore.
Right.
He just breaks even. And when you're doing that kind of strategy, that doesn't do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with mono yellow Gotenks is going to tear everybody a new one because he just draws so many cards.
Right.
Although, speaking of that, you ever notice who didn't get hit? The reboot Gohan leader. He is Dennis the Menace of the format.
He is, yeah.
He shows up at your table and you're like, this is gonna blow. Like, even as a Boo deck, it's just abysmal because he just outraces you.
Right,
There's
yeah.
nothing you can do to stop him at the current moment. Because he already attacks twice in a turn, and on top of that, he gains triple on the back. And the backside, he's Son Goku, so he's allowed to play Feet Kamehameha, and that gives him crit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's real feels bad? When you go, maybe I could live it, give him trip, and 10. Oh, I'm sorry, but also give him 15 in crit.
Yeah, that one should have gotten something.
Right. But, I appreciate them at least give him some free roam to terrorize the game a little bit. Because then people at least kind of get a feeling for where he's at.
Right.
And even though Boo is super powerful, certain decks just crush him.
Yes.
Like, he's a very strong Stompy deck. He'll just keep drawing cards, he'll keep out-comboing you in almost every regard. But then the super fast decks are going to just mollywop him in the face because he has to burn himself to awaken. He has to go empty-handed, so he's very straightforward in what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the new stuff, that's going to mess up his game plan because now you're yoinking cards out of the yard. Now he can't use those anymore.
Right, yeah. I noticed that with a lot of newer stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, your deck's going to get a huge boost out of this new set.
I hope so, so maybe I have a chance at winning.
But, I mean, overall, this list, phenomenal. I wouldn't really do it any other way. And, I mean, outside of just murdering the living crap out of the Surge leaders, and I get it, it's just, I wished they would have had a little more patience with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, first of all, we haven't really had anything happen in a while.
Right, especially with everything going on.
Right. And, like, but even then, with the new stuff is more appealing than those leaders now.
Right.
Because now they're bringing back Blue Ramp, which is a fan favorite of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
On top of the black decks are actually getting more diversity in their playstyles now.
Right, I'm looking forward to VJinx.
Oh yeah, Vegix is cool. He's a really cool mid-range deck.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. And then on top of that, Mono Green. Mono Green's gonna do something for once.
Green's looking clean.
Right. Like, they don't have to splash a color anymore, and that's cool. I enjoy that. But, other than that, what are your thoughts on this stuff?
I agree with a lot of what you said, that a lot of it was appropriate and well needed. Like, I agree with the Surge leaders where, like, it was kind of, like, overkill almost, but I can still kind of see why they did it. So
Right. Like, my only biggest gripe is the Goku Black leader itself, just killing him off outright.
Right.
It's like, oh, well, I guess none of the old stuff has value anymore, even though they're out of print. Well,
Right.
I guess. But other than that, make sure to go ahead and smash that like button. Light up the comment section, and then tell us what your thoughts are on this list. But other than that, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and support us on Patreon. And above all else, stay classy, y'all.
Thanks for listening to TCG Buzz. New episodes can be found on tcgbuzz.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For box openings, deck profiles, and more, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.